name's Maria Bond. I am founder of the Wedding Ceremony Store. The Wedding Ceremony Store is where we finally bust open the wedding industry. You get to see professionally filmed footage of behind the scenes of wedding ceremonies. So if you're a bride or groom, you get to see what it's like finally to be up there on the day, all the things you didn't hear or didn't see as a guest. And if you're officiating weddings, you get to see real behind the scenes footage of weddings, what it's like up there, what can be said to make things a lot easier for everyone. So I hope you enjoy the Wedding Ceremony Store. Go and check it out. Before we begin, please hit subscribe and tap on the bell so you can get your notifications. We're really happy to have you here with us on our YouTube channel. Today, I want to tell you a story. This story is about the day the rings went missing. Now, when I was officiating a wedding many years ago, and I was new to weddings, maybe it was my 20th wedding, I'm not sure, but I was newish. We had a situation. I'm going to run you through the day and just tell you this story. It's an interesting story and it's kind of funny now. As the officiant or the celebrant, I was officiating the wedding. I was standing up the front with the groom and the groomsmen, and the processional music started, and in walked a little page boy and a little flower girl. Now, they were both crying. Now, that's not uncommon. Often the little children can get stressed, they can run away, that's for another day, that story, or they can cry, they can be nervous, So, it was cute. They both walked up, they were crying, I felt sorry for them, but we settled them down and they moved to the left. Then the bridesmaids started walking down one by one, and each of them were crying. Now, that also isn't uncommon because there's a lot of emotion on a wedding day. But as each bridesmaid kept coming down, the tears from the bridesmaids were getting more and more. And by the time the fourth or the fifth bridesmaid came down, I was actually starting to wonder if something had gone wrong. I felt like the tears were not the emotional, oh my gosh, this is so exciting and I'm overwhelmed kind of tears, to I'm really sad about something tears. So I was starting to feel a bit nervous, trying to keep the groom sorted. I felt like he could feel the vibe too, but it was okay. Then down came the bride with her dad, and she was also crying, but properly sobbing at this point. I knew at that point that potentially something had gone wrong. I didn't know what it was. She got to the top of the aisle and her dad whispers, "We've lost the rings." And I just thought, oh my gosh, what are we going to do here? Of course, I just had to be completely poker face. I knew at some point in the ceremony, someone was coming up for a reading, and I knew that then I would have 2 or 3 minutes to kind of try and arrange something behind the scenes. But it's hard. You're standing up there in front of all the guests. Everyone is looking at you and the bride and groom and the bridal party, and you need to make this okay as a celebrant or the officiant. The ceremony started. I calmed her down before the ceremony started as the music was continuing to play, because that's a good tip for celebrants or officiants. Keep that music playing for as long as you can so that you can talk to the bride and groom without it being completely obvious. Turn the mic off, talk to the bride and groom, try and calm them down, ask them if they're ready to start. If they say yes, then cue the music to go down. I did a bit of that. The music went down. We started the ceremony. It was fine. We got through it. It was lovely. She had stopped crying, but she was clearly sad. And then the person came up to do the reading. And at that point, as the celebrant or the officiant, I stand away. I hand the microphone and my book so they can read the reading, and I stood away. And I went and stood deliberately near the bridesmaids, who were clearly freaking out. As I came over, they're whispering, "We've lost the rings, we've lost the rings, we've lost the rings." The little page boy starts crying again, because I find out later that he is the one that lost the rings. It was really becoming a little bit manic, because, and to be honest, as the officiant, a little bit funny, because For me, I know, well, in Australia anyway, I don't know what country you're watching this in, but in Australia, exchanging rings isn't even a legal component. We don't have to put that in. They can legally be married without exchanging rings, but it is a hugely traditional component, no matter what country you're in, of a wedding ceremony. And of course, very, very, very important. So I knew we needed rings. I knew we were going to do the ring exchange, but I also knew in my heart that we could get past this. We could just find a ring, put it on her. It's not going to change the legalities of the wedding, and no one would even know if we kept it a little bit lower key than how it was going at the moment. So I knew that I had 2 to 3 minutes. I'm trying to calm the bridesmaids. I say to them, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. We can use any ring, it doesn't matter. Here, we'll use mine. And I took mine off. Great big flurry, that wasn't going to work. My ring was too small, they all decided. I just took one off one of the bridesmaids. I said, give me yours. So I took her ring, I calmed them down, I put the ring in with me in my hand, and at that point the reader finished. I walked over and I said, thank you very much. And I flicked the microphone off and I said to the bride, we are going to borrow, and I said the person's name, I think her name was Amanda. We're going to borrow Amanda's ring for the ring exchange. Do not worry, we will find your ring later. We're just going to continue on, no one's going to know. And then I turned the microphone back on and I finished the rest of the ceremony. She was completely fine. Nobody knew, I don't think. The funny part to this story was when this ceremony finished and everyone was hugging and kissing and I was chatting, it turns out that actually the little page boy, who I'm going to say was little, he was 4 or 5, was given the rings at the house where the bridal party were getting ready. He had to hold them all the way in the car and all the way up to the top of the aisle. And so at some point he lost them. Guess what? That was probably 8 years ago or 9 years ago. Those rings have never been found. The moral to this story is, do not ever give those rings to the page boy or whoever is going to hold them until the start of that processional. They can be handed to the ring bearer at the start of the processional. Music plays, hand the rings over. They can walk up the aisle. Then if they drop them, that's fine, they can be picked up. They cannot be lost at that point. So that's the moral of the story. That is one of my weddings that really just spiraled and spiraled because I knew something was wrong, and as each person walked down the aisle, they were just crying harder and harder and harder. But you know what? We were fine. They were married. I calmed them down. It was kind of a funny story. I hope that helps you officiating weddings. I hope that helps you as a bride. It's a fun thing to, talk about. It won't happen to you, so don't worry. Learn from what happened to me, and I hope you have a great day. Check out the Wedding Ceremony Store if you want to see behind the scenes footage that you can never see at any other times. Good luck. Bye.